My friends, we begin this week with a clown of a news because the Russians used their Wunderwaffe to charge on Avdiivka. Yes, the Battle of Avdiivka is still ongoing. And what Russians used to charge that settlement, you won't believe. You wouldn't see it in your wildest dreams. But we have a video right here, so let's check it out together. I can only tell you that this has never been used in this war before. Look at what they're using for the assault, lads. Look carefully. This is an assault on Pervomayorsk, on Polutorka. Oh, artillery began. Well, first of all, this is a Russian assault on one of the settlements very close to Avdiivka, in the Avdiivka vicinity. Russians are attacking with a convoy and a column of vehicles, of course, as they do. But you notice there's no armored vehicles here. It's trucks. And that's not even the funniest part. They assault with trucks. We'll get to it, wait. We'll be burning like a lighter. Where are they going? They're moving towards Almaz. Are they immortal? It's a good question because you would not use trucks, which are considered a soft target in the military, to assault one of the best defended Ukrainian fortifications in this war. You wouldn't use soft target. Like, you gotta ask, do they think they are immortal? Now, my friends, they said, oh, Polutorka, they're using Polutorka. What is Polutorka? This is Polutorka, my friends. Yes, they were using this. It is produced somewhere in the 1930s. It was used. It's pre-World War II. And of course, if it works and rolls, you can use it. But I mean, what the hell? The fact that they are using this, I will now reenact the mind process and you will know what's coming. Ivan, since you are Tolvayobov soldier, I will put you in charge of military museum. You are so stupid you cannot go to front. Here, look at these old relics. You will be in charge of showing these relics to people. Так точно, командир. I show relic to people. Commander is so proud of me. But we have huge losses on the front and we have not taken Avdiivka. Hey, but I have military museum. I have military hardware. Ivan has capability to change outcome of war. I send Polutorka to the front. Ivan will get medal for bravery. Good, Ivan. No army in the world would use trucks made in the 30s if they would have another choice. So what this gives us is that Russians are feeling the attrition of Ukrainians hunting their logistical trucks, their logistics fleet, truck fleet. It's beginning to show because Polutorka comes out of the museum only if you don't have anything else, if you're running out of Ural trucks. My friends, on Saturday, my documentary about my latest trip to Ukraine came out. There we shot weapons with the special forces and it's a new fundraiser for kamikaze drones that will go to these very same special forces. If you have not seen it, please go and watch it. The link is in the description below. With this fundraiser, every one of you has a direct ability to change the outcome of this war. This is the most direct way to do it. Also, if you want content like this, it is all up on my Instagram. Link is also in the description below. I'll see you there. The Battle of Avdiivka is still ongoing. Avdiivka for Russians for some reason has been declared Bakhmut number 2. It doesn't have that great of a military value. Well, of course it has some military value, but not enough to lose 5,000 knocked out cold soldiers on one settlement. Obviously the tactics doesn't work, but Russia continues it for the second week already. Now this report comes from the spokesperson of the 110th Ukrainian Brigade. Spokesperson is Anton Gotsukon. I will read it to you. Russians are digging tunnels in Avdiivka to get closer to the Ukrainian positions. Firstly, for the purpose of camouflage, and secondly, to emerge somewhere closer to our positions unexpectedly. What he also noted, I mean, the tunnels are crazy. Already, this means they cannot advance on the ground. They have to go under the ground. They will try everything. Of course, they cannot also advance in the air because they will be shot down. But the next thing he noted is also a first in this war, like Polutorka. He noted that Russians have been seeing used remote-controlled robotic transport vehicles. So vehicles who carry troops and ammunition and equipment without needing a driver. This is some high-tech next generation thing that the Russians are using there. And 110th Brigade reports having seen that. No, I don't doubt that it's maybe 1 or 2 vehicles. They don't have a massive fleet of those, but wow, I have to say. But if we talk about the Battle of Avdiivka, I would have thought that it will be over by now. 1.5 weeks it's going on. Russians are using the same tactic of using men and dumb iron to be thrown away in this meat grinder. And here we have a thorough analysis of the Russian losses, their physical locations, geolocated locations, detailedly put on photos. It's made by Clement Molin from Twitter, so his link is in the description below and you can see him on the screen. It's all his work. I will read you the thread, and it gives us great overview of the Russian losses in trying to take Avdiivka. In the space of 10 days, the Russian army lost 117 armored vehicles in its attacks between Avdiivka and Novomikhailivka, 81 of them only in the attack on Avdiivka. The massacre began in early October in another village much further south. 21 pieces of equipment were lost in the attack of Novomikhailivka. Let's quickly look at these losses. The route of the groups is marked in yellow, the last Russian positions in red. So as you can see, the Russians have advanced, as always, with groups of infantry fighting vehicles, usually led by a tank. Let's say there's 10 infantry fighting vehicles and 1 tank in a group. They advance together, so you can see the losses bunched together. And as you can see, the yellow lines are very short, meaning they don't go very far because these fields are mined. They have shown positions of Ukrainian artillery. They have Ukrainian anti-tank guided missile teams ready looking at these kill boxes. We're talking Stugna teams. And these truly are kill boxes, as you can see, on a very small field. A huge concentration of lost Russian armor or knocked out cold Russian armor. And we're just getting started, bear with me. Now on this photo you can see the Russian assault from Pisky towards Pervomayorsk. 3 tanks knocked out cold, as well as 4 infantry fighting vehicles including 2 BMPs and 1 Ural truck and 1 TOS-1A, which is a thermobaric Russian weapon system. It is weird that they are using Ural trucks at all, like tanks should be there, infantry fighting vehicles and the thermobaric TOS-1. But not Ural trucks at all. On an offensive operation, you don't use trucks at all, ever. I don't know why the Russians do it. Polutorka, yes. On the southern axis of Avdiivka, 3 assaults happened. 1 to the east, 1 which turns around with 4 BMPs, 2 damaged by first-person view drones. 1 which advances and is destroyed, 4 tanks, 9 BMP 1, 2 and 3s. 3 MTLBs plus 2 Ukrainian T-64s, and these 2 Ukrainian T-64s are the only armored losses of Ukraine in the Battle of Avdiivka. Well, it does make sense. Ukraine has also losses, but they're not in armor because Ukraine defends its positions not with armor but with mortars, artillery and fortified infantry positions. Why would you use armor extensively on a defensive position? Of course you can use dog-in tanks and infantry fighting vehicles, but this is not what they're made for. And if you're trying to fight or fighting like Ukraine, according mostly to NATO standards, you don't use your armor like that. I'm glad to see that. Russians do use their tanks as artillery on the frontal positions defensively. They dig in the tanks and they shoot them like artillery, and that wears out the barrels very fast. And there are no new barrels. It's a wrong way to use a tank. And now, my friends, we're getting to the juicy part. North of Avdiivka was the favorite Russian place for assault operations, and they did most. They pushed everything, every armored vehicle they had in the area to there. And as you can see from the photos, drone footage confirming the knocking out cold of all of these vehicles. 67, all of which are not shown on this photo, but 67 losses confirmed on drone footage north of Avdiivka, the village of Krasnokharivka. This is insane. On this photo we can see the path the Russian vehicles took. They started, yellow line can go, of course, it turns to the left and then it turns to the west and then to the south, and as you can see, the closer it gets to the Ukrainian held territory, the losses begin. And these roads are mined. Although they are under Russian occupied area, Ukrainians have remote controlled mining robots laying anti-tank mines without putting infantry in danger. This is insane because they can do that at night. So the Russians think, okay, this is our occupied territory, there is no mines, full throttle, and boom, knocked out cold. So a lot of these losses, although the Russian occupied territory, are still Ukrainian anti-tank mines, which is like, what the hell? And now, my friends, we get to the newest battle of Avdiivka. This happened only yesterday, actually. This is Krasnogorivka, north from Avdiivka. The red line shows the front line between Russian and Ukrainian held areas. And as you can see, a huge mass of Russian armored vehicles crossed into the no man's land onto this field right here. And I'll show you, I'll go to Krasnogorivka, and this is the field right here. I'll zoom out also, you can see where it is. This one, it is a kill zone. It is mined to oblivion. It has kill boxes shot in for Ukrainian artillery. It has firing sectors for Ukrainian Stuna crews. It has first-person view drones hovering above it. Ukrainian recon drone is always in the air. And then there is just infantry also aiming at this. It's a full kill box, and Russians sent all of their armor into this field. As you can see, they advanced in 3 different columns. And by these losses, we can actually tell where the mines are laid. No mines in this area, very close to the Russian lines. But then on the western part of this field, the mine line, however you call it, goes just before this windbreak right here from north to south. Boom, like that. And as you can see, most of the vehicles did not advance any further. These ones knocked out cold before probably didn't even reach the mines. Now, these are drone footages of the very same fields, and just to show you that all of this is visually confirmed, nothing is made up here. Some of the vehicles were knocked out cold even on the Russian-occupied windbreak before they reached the field, because Ukrainians, of course, can strike there also, and it's a cluster of Russian vehicles. Other vehicles advancing in the position see what happened to the comrades just before them yesterday, and they still go. They still have to go. But how do these huge Russian losses north of Avdiivka mirror in the Russian losses in the past 24 hours? Here they are, 23rd of October. 870 Russian infantry knocked out cold, 12 tanks, 22 armored personnel vehicles, 25 artillery systems, 7 special equipment, and 15 vehicles and fuel tanks. Now, these 15 vehicles and fuel tanks might be the reason why we see Polutorka, the truck produced in the 30s, used on assault on Avdiivka. Because every time I look at these losses, vehicles and fuel tanks are always very high. Ukrainians are hunting them. Well, they're hunting everything, but taking out the Russian truck fleet means attrition for the Russian frontline units, means less artillery missions, less assault operations, less Ukrainian casualties. And this is what we're seeing right now. Just to hammer in the point, this is British Ministry of Defense update on Ukrainian war yesterday. Recent Russian assaults in Avdiivka have contributed to a 90% increase in Russian casualties recorded by the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. So almost 100% increase in Russian casualties. It is likely that Russia has suffered 150,000 to 190,000 permanent casualties since the conflict began, with the total figure including temporarily wounded in the region of 240,000 to 290,000. So it is very similar to what Ukraine is reporting. This does not include Wagner Group or their prisoner battalions who fought in Bakhmut, which is an additional 25,000 knocked out cold. So we have British Ministry of Defense intelligence report confirming the Ukrainian intelligence report of the Russian losses. And now to hammer in that point even more, we have a report from one of the Russian military bloggers' Telegram channels, Fire Bomber, and I'll read you what he writes. The very first losses of our aviation in the special military operation were from our own air defense on the very first day of the war. I think our last crew shot down in the war will also be by our own air defense. Hey, what the hell? Moreover, every loss is investigated. Oh yeah? Yeah? Tell me about it. The reason for the loss is repeated. Yes. Deceased crews are awarded the Order of Courage. Of course they are. In Russia, you have to die to be somebody. In the army also. Air defense crews who shot down these choppers are awarded the Order of Courage a little later. and so on in a circle. And I know this is like that because I've seen it. I already made and reenacted this fun story for you that Ivan shot his own tank to get the Medal of Courage and 500,000 rubles for it. As I understand it, this suits everyone except the pilots. Moreover, we have to dodge our missiles more and more often, and there is no light at the end of the tunnel. See, Russian blue on blue fire indicates for us that their communication channels have decreased, that their overview and understanding of the situation on the battlefield has decreased. Only the top-notch commanders perhaps know, perhaps even they don't know, but the local air defense crews have no idea who is up in the air because they have no direct communication. They have no middleman also for the communication. United States Army is perfect with this. Relying comms between different army branches, US is really good at this compared to other militaries. I know that if you are from United States military, whichever branch you're from, you have some things to say about that, about other branches. But if you compare it to the Russian army, you have no idea. They don't talk to each other at all. There's huge rivalries to the point that they will shoot down their own planes and choppers. And my friends, now a video coming from Dimitri, or War Translated. I want to show you because I like the way Ukrainians think on this. This shows you their innovativeness and ability to think outside the box directly. Here is the flooring. It's obviously a Ukrainian trench leading up to something. And boom, we have a mortar position in a trench, and I can see there's a roof on top of it. One moment. Here we have 6 wheels. What? Nothing will leak. Front visor goes down. And bada bim bada boom, the roof goes off. Yeah, open fire and close. Wonderful. Very simple thing to do, very easy thing to do. But to do it, you need to think about it first. And this is where Ukrainians and Russians differ. I'm glad to see this. I like small videos like this. It really shows you in small detail the difference between mindsets of Russians and Ukrainians on the front line. And now, my friends, your favorite and my favorite part of the video, the butchering of the patron names. Tier 10 and above, and I'll be butchering your name too. Jodbe, Thomas, Peter McDonald. Living well on less. Thank you. Tyler Watts. These 5 people have directly influenced me on my life for the better. Thank you, my friends. Also, if you have not seen the video, the documentary about my latest trip to Ukraine and the kamikaze drones we are fundraising for, please go and watch it. The link is in the description below. And until my next video, which will be tomorrow, Slava Ukraini. Bye bye.